very quickly to the east-southeast. Vaughn right now is located just near the Afton area. That just blew through him a little bit ago. Vaughn, give me a quick update on what you have and what's going on in your area. Have you seen any damage? Are you there, Vaughn? Vaughn?
Yes, I'm sorry, Travis. I am here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to. Okay. Can you give me an update on what you have been witnessing? What happened when that came flying across the area? And have you had any damage or see anything? Looks like some damage.
Yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of damage except for a lot of little limbs down, especially around the Nowata area and just east of Nowata. Once I got on the north side of this line, the winds, they didn't calm down, but they're more in the 40 mile an hour range, whereas when it came through Nowata, it was 60 plus. I know there was a 63 mile an hour mesonet reading. So very strong winds, and that is headed right into Grove right now. So that's where we're headed.
All right, yeah, and it is in Grove and passing Grove. It is accelerated very, very rapidly across the region, and so this is going to be just kind of one and done flying through. We'll have you continue, if you would, going through that area, and let's go down now, take a look at radar back again for a minute. We'll go back to Vaughn in just a minute, but we don't see limited hail. This is mainly a wind event right now, so we could say 70 mile an hour winds. Is a warning, guys, for 70 mile an hour winds or so? Is it say 60? Because as rapidly as that has expanded across the lake, I'd be surprised if we don't get some wind gusts from that. And so this is the lake right in here. It's covered in green at this point because we have moderate to heavy rains, and then the strong winds at the leading edge of this is continuing to blow across this area. As we look a little bit further down through the Grand Lake area and a little bit further to the south and west, that's where we're going to find Brandon. And Brandon is located just along Highway 28 as it's coming across the areas near Langley area. And so this is an area which was hit also with some gusty winds or strong winds to catch them, and so some power outages are likely to be coming in from this area as well. Brandon, we're going to go to you for a minute for an update. Do you see any damage, anything going on in your area?
Travis, I haven't seen any damage yet, but there are some signs that there were some relatively strong winds that come through here because there's some loose limbs and tree debris scattered along 28. Right now I'm just getting some light to moderate heavy rainfall. There's actually not a lot of lightning associated with this either, Travis. It's mainly just a primary wind event. But we're still scouring the area for damage. But if we find any, we'll be sure to let you know, Travis.
Okay, Brandon, I appreciate it, and so we'll let you go so you can kind of watch and see what's going on in your area. The whole cluster of rain and thunderstorms, as we look at it again, is pushing rapidly into southwest Missouri. So this is about over with, but we do have this extending area, and there's an outflow boundary that comes right across areas and kind of pushing down now from Sperry to Owasso, and then that extends as well to around the Verdigris area. So that's pushing to the south. We have a cell that's located on the east end of Oologah Lake. And so what we're doing with Darren is because of this outflow boundary, there is a chance of additional shower and thunderstorm activity that could develop as we go through the next couple of hours. But this would be out to the west and northwest of Pawnee County. And so that's why we're going to be careful. But Darren went through some pretty intense thunderstorm activity as well when he's covered that for about the last 3.5, 4 hours. Darren, can you give me a quick update? You don't have to make it quick, but give me an update. I don't know what that picture is right now. That's Darren. Darren, your picture is froze on a back road someplace, or are you there, Darren? You there, Darren? I hear, uh-oh, somebody just dropped off there. It might have been his cell coverage or kind of got jammed up. If you get him back online, Mako, if you get a chance. I want to point out as well that this outflow boundary, as it pushes south, this is probably the last reprieve before the heat wave hits us. So if you're near Owasso, you're going to have to just enjoy what you have while you have it, because it's going to be nasty. It's already hot and humid across much of the area. We were kind of hoping that this line of thunderstorms would eventually come down tonight, give us one more shot of rain, but this is pretty much just going to all be blowing and going across the eastern part and pushing out of our area. But we do have, as this moves to the east, at least a storm track of what's been going on. Lacey has been working on that. Lacey, what's the update on these? They look like they're flying.
They're still hauling about 55 miles per hour off to the east. They are starting to weaken some on that southern fringe. Still have that severe storm you were talking about near Grove, but down by Spavin Spavinaw, I know it's really loud. There is still some pretty intense lightning near Spavinaw. Brandon was saying he's seen those numbers kind of tick down some, though. Also that thunderstorm over Foyle, but everything tracking to the southeast. I've got the latest track taking it basically into, let's see, Lake Uchi at about 422. So that's now. It's moving on in. Colcord moving in by about 443. After that, it is definitely starting to head towards Missouri, eventually down into northern Arkansas, and we will be moving out. We have folks on Facebook Live, Travis. I'm looking at these comments asking the question about Tulsa. They're saying, okay, you're mentioning that they're moving away. Well, we have additional thunderstorms. That boundary is moving in. It looks a little ominous to the north. Starting to approach the area, at least the winds are.
And we can do that as well. And I don't know if we can get a T5 or something. Michael, could you flip that around, or is it flipped around to where we can see the outflow coming in? If we can take, we're going to try T. Okay. So this is what it looks like right now. This is looking from downtown, looking almost due north right now. And so we do have a little bit of cumulus strato Q kind of hanging around here. And there could be additional vertical development coming in as this flies in. Our odds of rain right now are about 10%, maybe 20 at max. So there isn't a whole lot of chances of rain and thunderstorms at this time for the immediate area, but at least something could flare up because that boundary is situated across the northern sides of town. In fact, we can go back to radar for a minute and wanted to just show you. So as this boundary pushes south, it's running into a very, very stable air mass. But what we are seeing right now is from around the Verdigris area and then extending through Owasso, and then that kind of fizzles out a little bit. It isn't quite as pronounced as we get up to Scatook Lake, so you have more of a north-northeast wind influence off of that. And you see the last of what we call the convective, or the shower and thunderstorm activity, is situated from around Claremore, northeast side of Claremore, and it's broken. You can see how it's just kind of multicellular. It's just not a whole lot going on. It's not real solid. It's not big, so therefore it's not really severe. The biggest problem we have is just those winds, and that's literally moving into southwest Missouri right now. So the warning's been extended all the way into southwest Missouri. So our warnings are pretty much going to be canceled because the leading edge of this is already pushing well into Missouri along the state line and getting out of our viewing area. But the Grand Lake area has been hit with some very, very heavy rainfall and very, very strong winds in some of these areas. So that's why we just want to make sure if you're in these areas, you know about it now, but we're going to continue to monitor what's going on. And as we said, for the Tulsa area, it's just not quite as bad at this time, and we expect the bad stuff to be more like related to heat. But that's one of the reasons why Darren is in a position where he's going to go back, and you can kind of see the outflow. And could you go back to the velocities like you had them just for a second, because that was kind of cool. You can see kind of the reds and the greens. That is pretty much the boundary where it is located. So it still is fairly well defined, even south of Scatook right now and into Osage County. So there is a bit of a boundary because that's just showing a difference of wind flow, and that helps us kind of determine where that is. It's kind of nice to have that outflow boundary. But as an outflow boundary just sits there for a little bit, and the heating of the afternoon, we could see some additional thunderstorms develop across western portions of Osage County into Pawnee County. And if we could now, let's go to Lynx 1. And what we have right now is a severe thunderstorm watch, and in fact, not for Tulsa, but areas to the north. And so most of these areas have stabilized behind this, but I said that over the weekend, I think about 10 times, and I think 9 times I was wrong because there's just so much energy in the atmosphere. It just kept going and going. This part of the storm is the one that we were talking about. That's getting off into Arkansas, northwest Arkansas and southwest Missouri. But we're still going to keep an eye on what's going on right out here. Now, our severe thunderstorm watch is until 9 o'clock. So again, if we get the additional development, that will be a bit of an issue with a chance of a thunderstorm or two. So far, the wind reports that have been coming in have pretty much been in western Cowley County, right around Bartlesville. We also had near Nowata. And then that extended back on into around Chelsea, just east of Chelsea near Veneta. So as this has continued to track to east, I'll be surprised if we don't get some wind reports out of Grove here coming up shortly. We did have a report just near Spavinaw. Was it 3 miles west of Spavinaw? Pensacola, that's what it was. Of about, well, some trees down. When you do that, you have to have some pretty strong winds of in excess of. We're anticipating that that's still going just strong, and most of our velocity indications are indicating that as well. So as we look at what happened, and just to give you an idea, this was at noon. It was very warm, muggy air across the area, and during the course of the afternoon, we've maintained not too awful bad, but we hit 94, and so it's hot. It's really hot, and it looked just to the north of that at 68 in Bartlesville. And then you look at Coffeyville at 72, 71 at Veneta. And then Pawhuska's right on that leading edge right now at 91. And this is what we're watching, is this area right in here, just in case we end up with some thunderstorms and get a little carried away, because they could still develop. Tulsa so far is good. Well, it's hot and good, we'll put it that way, and it's going to get hotter. But as that cluster moves to the south and to the east, that's what we're anticipating that could cause some issues. So just be advised for that, and just know that we're going to still have a slight chance of isolated storms. And for the evening hours, we still have that risk of a few thunderstorms. So we're working on the forecast. Lacey and Michael have been working on that this afternoon as well. And so we'll have a lot of the details coming up at 5 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. And of course, it's Election Day. Hopefully you've gone out and voted. And if you haven't, hopefully we can get out there to vote. I was supposed to do that, didn't get there, so I'm going to try to do that if the storms die down right after work, before the polls close at 7 o'clock. Temperatures will still remain fairly hot, though, across the area, so don't be surprised. Let's go back to radar for one more time before we go back to programming. I shouldn't say programming, but go back to our Facebook program. But we're talking about the chances of showers and thunderstorms that are going to be pushing off to the east and southeast across this area to the in far eastern portions of Delaware County. I can even hear the news. Hey, you guys in the newsroom, they're laughing. They're laughing in the newsroom. And they laugh again. Just keep laughing. That's fine. I don't care. Anyway, so we are looking for the better chance of storms to be out of our picture as we go through the next 30 minutes to 40 minutes. And the only thing that we'll keep an eye on is what's going on in these areas, and we'll look to see what kind of damage also has occurred around the Grand Lake area as those storms move through. We have Darren out to the west, and we have that outflow boundary, and as I said, enjoy it while you got it, because it isn't going to be too good for too long. We will have additional information, though, coming up, and we do have, we'll be on Channel 6 coming up here at in about 10 to 12 minutes, so we'll have another update there. In the meantime, have a great afternoon. We'll be back with more information as necessary.